The reason that I'm so confident in the farm moving into the future is because this year I am fixing all of this farm's problems. That means I'm not just trying to tread water, I'm not just trying to survive, I'm actually trying to make the farm run as a good business moving into the future. So I identified a bunch of problems that the farm has, and I've tried to kind of systematically go through and address those problems. First up is the farm lacks flow. There was kind of like things scattered everywhere. There was no rhyme or reason. With the size of the farm that it is, it's easy to waste time trying to find stuff or walking from one area of the farm to the other. So I wanted to minimize my steps, make everything just easier on me, and to really like design the farm in a way that just made logical sense to me. There's lots of things that I did to address that. But for example, moving all the greenhouses up into this area. You can see that there's already 2 greenhouses partially put up. There's a dirt space there right in the middle for a third one. And then now that these tulips have kind of finished, I can take out these raised beds and make space for another greenhouse. You can see I've got the parts for it leaning up over there. And then as the season goes on, I will empty out all the perennials in this area, and this area will become a 5th greenhouse. Greenhouses, they're like definitely the most prime real estate on the farm. Putting them all together means that I can just, do the greenhouse labor all at once. Like sometimes you need tools, specific tools for things that grow in similar areas. So the annuals need like more of certain type of weeding, so you have those tools there. The perennials maybe require less maintenance. So I didn't want to have everything all like mixed up. I wanted to try to keep everything like with like, so that if I'm walking around the farm trying to get tools, I'm not like getting tools for here and then, doing something on a bed and then using those tools on the other side of the farm. Not efficient, right? So the greenhouses are going up there, and then over here, this is all going to be the annual area. So things like sunflowers and zinnias. The plan is to grow them right around here. And then lower on the farm, that is going to be where all the perennials are. And then finally, kind of over by the shipping containers, that is where all of the food is going to get grown. There is one more area, and that is the crates, which I'm going to locate all in this area. And I'm going to grow glads, which are what these are, my tulips, and eventually all of my lilies in this spot as well. Moving everything around is going to create a lot of work. It already has created a lot of work. But I have to dig up perennials, right? I have to dig up perennials, move them. All my lilies are planted in beds in the annual area, so I don't really want them there. So once they flower, I'm going to harvest them, put them in crates. There's a whole perennial section up top there, which is where that 5th greenhouse is going to go. All of those have to be dug up and moved, and that is time, but in the end, it will make for such a more organized farm. Now, once you start rearranging all of the farm, you open up another can of worms, and that is irrigation. My whole irrigation system needs to be rebuilt. Basically, everything after the valves has to be rebuilt into the new layout. And then the valve boxes themselves, the irrigation boxes, you can see they are all being dug up because I originally hired somebody to put them together. And after a couple years, they completely filled with dirt. So I had to dig them out, gonna put landscape fabric underneath so that they don't fill back up with dirt. And then landscape fabric all around them, clean them up. I think there's like 8 different irrigation boxes, something like that. It's another consequence of trying to make the farm efficient. But after this year, I won't have to do this kind of, work again, right? Here's something that I haven't got a solution to completely yet, but I know what I want. I spent a lot of time moving around this farm, right? And I think the perfect vehicle for me is a little golf cart. So I think that would save both my energy. It wouldn't be like something that I have to worry about getting stolen too much. And it could like tow a cart if I like had like a trailer set up for it, so that I could move, lots of buckets of water when I'm harvesting, or like maybe I can move dirt around with it. I think that a golf cart is what I need to save my body on this farm. And so I'm going to be looking for one. I've already started. I found one that's used for like $4,000. It's a lot of money, but again, I want to solve this inefficiency problem on the farm, and this is the year that I want to do it. I don't want to just keep putting things off, because next year is the year that really counts, in my opinion. I'm still on all of these solutions for the first problem, the inefficiency of the farm. I already solved some of it in building the seedling room. I thought that the seedlings before were like really, really time consuming and difficult to water. And so that was a lot of the motivation to build the seedling room. And it's turned out really well. It takes me a fraction of the time and a fraction of the effort to water my seedlings now. Okay. I think you're getting the idea, right? Rearrange everything, but that causes a lot of, headaches, right? The final thing that I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get to this year completely or not, but I would like to really be, getting it over the winter at the worst case scenario, is the shipping container that's going to be my walk-in cooler. I've talked about that a lot though, so I'm not going to, talk about it too much again. But if you don't know, right now, this trailer is my walk-in cooler, but I want to take out this little shed thing that I built that was originally supposed to be my wash station, and I want to put a shipping container there and then turn that into my walk-in cooler. Problemo number 2. I feel like the business needs to bring in more attention, both online, on the roadside, and at the farmer's market. The farmers markets were a little bit tough last year because we moved to a new location, and the spot that I got put on doesn't really get traffic for the first couple hours. 90% of the people kind of come in from one direction, and they work that area of the farmers market that they hit first. So then everybody who was on the backside of where everyone was coming in didn't really see customers until like 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 hours into the market. And it's really hard to have good markets when you're losing a third of the time right off the start without hardly seeing any customers. So I've asked to be moved to that other area, which it sounds like I'll be accommodated. And I also have a really cool idea for signage. So there's these like rope lights, and you can kind of turn them into like classic neon sign stuff. It's going to take a little bit of work, but what I want to do is have a sign that's like a vertical sign. I've made a little example of it here. Let me see. So, isn't this complicated? So something that says like flowers, right, in a vertical fashion, fashioned out of these lights, and one on each side of my stand, so that when you're walking down the main kind of like drag, the street that the market is on, you can see the flowers from pretty far away. And these rope lights, they kind of look in person like a lightsaber. They have like this aura of light that kind of comes around them. I find them to have a really noticeable, cool effect just to the eyes. I think that they could really like bring some attention to the stand. So I've got a blue and a pink rope light that I'm going to, turn into this like flower sign, one for each side. And then in the back, to replace my other sign in like red, right? I want to do like a script like RedRoofFlowerFarm, obviously better than this. I just want you to kind of get the idea. All in like red. I think it would look really cool. And I think it would like draw attention and be both like stylized and like modern looking and fun, and just like get people looking, right? I want people to like look at my stand. I want to at least have a chance to sell to everybody who walks by. So that's my idea for the farmers markets. For the roadside stand, I just want more signage. And I also got like a marker board for inside the stand. I want to try to communicate with the customers more through that marker board. And then I want to use marker boards for my messaging to the, like peonies for sale, bouquets, $20 for my like roadside stand. I'm just going to get 2 of the metal marker boards, and then I'm gonna attach them with a hinge and stand them up, and I'll reinforce them a little bit or something. But they should be like weatherproof enough. The ones that I have out there already are very weathered, and they're like chalkboard. They take forever to clean off. They take forever to like draw on there and have it like be visible. So I want to reduce the amount of time so that I can have more like current signage and more signage in general to attract people to pull over and come to my stand. And then also I want to build a website. I picked up RedRoofFlowerFarm.com and .ca, and I've got some hosting. I haven't really like built anything more than a very, very simple landing page, but I want to actually have a website so that I have a place to direct people online. Yeah, so I think that those are all solutions to bring more attention to the farm. Problem number 3, it's just too much for me. There is so much walking and work and labor, just like physical stuff to do on the farm. It's really exhausting, and I am transitioning. There is changes to my physical abilities. I'm still anticipating that I'll be, fairly athletic, but I can't count on just being able to like infinitely work, because I'm aging as well. I'm in my mid 40s. So I need to be able to make it so that it's not just me. And the first and most obvious thing is that I'm bringing the kids out to the farm more to get help from them. I've kind of been getting them to help me water the seedlings, and I think that that's going to be a task that I'm going to continue to try to, bring them outside for every single day. I've been planting seedlings today, and I will be, all this week. I want to get them involved in that. I just want to have them more involved in the farm. They are old enough that they actually can be helpful. They helped me seed a bunch of my seedlings this year, and it really helps when they do that. They're just about as fast at it as I am, so I can kind of like be working ahead to like get them the seeds that they need for the next one, and water the trays as they finish them, and kind of like put another one in front of them. And I'm just trying to keep up with them as they're seeding the trays. So I'm just going to take advantage of the fact that I've got them here and I want to spend time with them. If I don't like work with them on the farm, then I really won't have a lot of time to see them as well, which is, I want to spend time with my kids. That's the first solution to like helping me out. Sam is actually cutting the grass for me now. The lawnmower is broken right now, but he's been doing a really good job of it so far this year. Now, I've also been looking for volunteer help. And the volunteer help, I'm not trying to like get people to help me as much with like the flower stuff. I just want people to help with the food, because it's really important to me that I grow a lot of food this year, and I do donate some of it to the food bank. Then the people who help out, they can, like a lot of people just kind of want to play around on a farm, get our hands dirty. If you're watching this video, you obviously feel similar and you understand. There's so much food on the farm, and there's so much like fruit and just like round after round of it, that people can get lots of food compensation for their efforts. And then I've talked about it on this channel already, but I do want to sign up for woofing, for hosting woofers, which is like, if you don't know, it's like a program where people come and they say they're vacationing, and then they spend 3 half days working on your farm, and then they can stay for the week. You have to kind of feed them and give them a place to stay. But I'm sure like there'd be lots of people. There's probably people in the audience that would want to come and see the farm and hang out here for a while. And I haven't got my listing up yet because I was doing tons of house renos, and those only finished kind of right when the farm started going. So it just hasn't like popped up to the top of the priority list yet, but I would like to do that pretty soon, because I think I could get some people for the summer. And I think it could be, again, a win-win, right? So these are all ways that I'm addressing this problem of there's only one of me and there's so much work to do. And I think that, that, and then just designing the farm for like lower labor, I think all of this can make it so that the farm can be efficient enough. And then in the future, I do want to get an employee so that I'm not like stuck here every single weekend. I'm at a farmer's market. I can never go away for even a weekend for half of the year. I don't want that for my lifestyle. And so I do eventually want to get employees as well. The final problem that I want to address is that every year in spring, so quickly I fall behind. There's like been years where tomatoes have been getting planted in like July. Seedlings are just getting burnt up, waiting to get planted. This like labor that gets put in because everything was so inefficient, it's like the work that you put in doesn't even end up having any sort of like benefit to you. And I'm just really, really tired of that happening. So I'm willing to sacrifice this year a little bit more for a really good start in 2026. That's the goal, is that next year I can just start and I don't have any sort of like major hiccups. Everything's all efficient. There's none of this like infrastructure building. I might still be, frantically working on the shipping container at the start of the season next year. But if that's where I'm at, I'll be happy. When everything's like not running right, nothing gets done. And when everything is running very smoothly and with like a good system, it's like it's one of those times when you can get like more than the sum of its parts out of your efforts, right? So what I mean by that is, if everything's like behind, then, I'm not planting my seedlings in time. They're not as healthy. They don't make as nice of flowers. Stuff is dying. It's like you start getting all of these like negatives that affect the profitability of the farm, and it really limits what you can do. But if everything is going smoothly, then it's almost like it's less work to do more. And that's really where I want to be. I think that I can do by myself more than the farm has ever done before. And that is my goal in the long term. And I want to, I'm obviously not going to do it running the farm the way it was being run. So that's why I'm changing things. And I think that I've got a lot of good ideas. I think that when I get all of these ideas implemented, the farm is going to run really well.